Hello and welcome back to the Growth Junction podcast, where we interview leaders out of finance, crypto, Web3, and blockchain by speaking with industry leaders who are shaping the future of the space. I'm Dennis, your host. I've been through 2.5 crypto cycles, and I've definitely felt the anxiety of the highs and lows in my wallets. Before this, I worked for multiple marketing agencies, one of them being a top Web3 agency, marketing agency. Yeah. So today I am thrilled to welcome Raj Kapoor, the visionary founder and CEO of the India Blockchain Alliance, India's largest emerging technology think tank. With a passion for harnessing blockchain to drive social impact and sustainability, Raj has positioned himself as a global leader in the space, serving as an advisor to many blockchain companies, a certified Bitcoin professional, and a champion of initiatives like Web3 on the Sea. Based in Mumbai and educated at the University of Mumbai, Raj is not only a tech innovator, but also an educator and advocate for aligning blockchain with sustainable development goals. Raj, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure having you. Please give us a quick introduction about you and your background.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for the little warm. Sometimes we forget what we are doing. So thanks for sort of capturing that well for us. Yes, I think more and more to add to what you said is yes, I'm doing a lot of work, but that's exactly what we're here for. And I think more important is I've chosen a niche for myself, and that niche is tech for good or tech for social impact. So a lot of my work now, besides the business as usual, which is fine, that's got to take that brings the bread and butter to the table. There's a lot of work we are doing in social impact. There's a lot of work we are doing in tech for good. In fact, yesterday we launched a project on how we do. We have used an AI bot and with along on a blockchain platform as well to actually address postpartum mental health. Now, a lot of people think, how the hell does tech work with that? Well, it does. So that's just a small example. But I think as we evolved over the years, social impact has become my calling, I feel. So while I do a lot of business, with professional business, yes, and then as an organization, we are doing a lot of work. We are present in 13 countries, by the way, Dennis. That's another thing which you should know. That we are not just present in India. We are India Blockchain Alliance, yes, but we are present in Nepal, we're present in Sri Lanka, we are in Nigeria, we are in Zambia, we are in Kenya, South Africa, Azerbaijan. So we are doing a lot of work. Our footprint is quite global now. I think not just in India, we are probably the largest single think tank and in the industry body anywhere at this point of time in this niche of blockchain and Web3. So while we do work, we also do impact. And I always say blockchain can, or any technology, forget just blockchain, any technology can actually be for profit or it can be for benefit. It does not mean if you're doing for benefit, you don't make a profit. So we
Mhm.
work together to make things even more palatable. And of course, the SDGs are something which we align with very, very closely, and we always will. At least it gives us a lot of people a sense of purpose and the next generation a better shot at a better life. That's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Thanks for that. So yeah, working with a purpose makes work so much easier and fulfilling. I can
Yes,
imagine. That's in the past working at jobs where it wasn't so nice and fulfilling. It's a drag, but you want to make want to be passionate for the work you do. So I can see that when you are talking about it, that's clearly the fact. So, but on to the main questions I have. Uh, you have worn many hats: tech innovator, educator, advisor to over 50 or more 80
80 plus now.
80 plus blockchain companies. And you've also been a developer in your earlier career, if I'm not mistaken. So what moment in your journey convinced you that blockchain was the way and that you want to dedicate your life to that?
Okay, I'll go back about 2000, about 2010. 2010, I was in the United States myself at that point of time. And I was there because my daughter, she got admission into Boston University and I was with her. And I had just lost my wife in 2010, unfortunately. And I was with my daughter because I was the father and the mother at the same time at that point of time. At that point of time, I was a little depressed. And one of my friends, he says, "What are you being so depressed? You don't go out in the evenings, you don't go to bars, you don't come out with us. Well, let me take you to a very interesting place." Why I'm telling you the story? Because that's what pivoted everything the way it has happened. It is now sort of streaming out now. He took me to a Bitcoin mine. He told me, "I'm taking you to a mine." I said, "What are you talking about, a mine?" I was sitting in Boston. He said, "Take you to a mine." I said, "Mine in Boston?" He said, "Yeah, a little outside, but let's go." So he took me to this mine. I saw hundreds of people sitting down there doing something. I don't know what they were doing. I don't come from a technology background per se. I was about 48 to 49 around that time. And he said, "Raj, you have to be here. You must be here. There's something very interesting happening." I said, "What's happening?" Is they're all mining Bitcoin. I had no clue what he was speaking about. And then he said, "Let me teach you that." He started teaching me how to mine Bitcoin. I was very curious. I said, "I don't know anything in technology. I don't know how to code. I don't know anything else." He said, "You'll learn everything on the job. Come on, I'll teach you." For the next few months, I spent a lot of my time completely deep diving into not that much of blockchain that time, but more of Bitcoin. Then I realized, what makes this technology tick? How does it create value? There's a value to Bitcoin. There's not value for any other technology which I've been talking about or reading about at that point of time. I said I must learn the underlying technology behind Bitcoin. That's where my first tryst came with blockchain as, yeah, as a technology. And then I knew, oh, this is something great. It's revolutionary. We can use it here. I started getting a lot of ideas. I said in a country like ours, like India, we can really utilize it and leverage it big time. So then I said, how does it work? Yeah, blockchain, but it doesn't work in isolation. So I learned IoT, I learned cybersecurity, I learned a little bit of robotics, I learned AI, I learned everything which sort of works in tandem with blockchain. And before anybody could believe, nobody would believe that a guy who had no background suddenly becomes an expert within this space. So I started doing a lot of work myself. I started doing a lot of coding. I wrote a lot of code, made a lot of programs, platforms. I worked with, in the earlier part of my life, with the Hyperledger Foundation. I worked very closely with Ethereum at that time because those are the emerging blockchains coming out in those
Mhm.
days. 2015, so my twist started in 2010. By 2015, 2017, I had decided that this is going to be a revolution. Like the internet was one, this is going to be the next revolution. I was convinced, and I still am convinced. I came to India and I said, let's get the ball rolling here. And in India, great country from a lot of tech knowledge, a lot of tech capacity, but they didn't understand this technology very well. So I brought the Olympic torch of blockchain from there and planted it in India. I said, come on, let's do something here. It was a disaster, to be very honest, in the beginning. For about a year and a half, I was struggling to make people understand, and they only thought I was either selling Bitcoin, doing some work in the Bitcoin space, or floating some Ponzi scheme. That's the only two things which could conjure up in their minds. I started explaining to them. I said, no, they are not understanding. And that's when I said, we set up the India Blockchain Alliance to make people understand the value of blockchain as a technology, how blockchain works with other technologies, what is the impact, and what we as individuals, like you and me, as individuals, normal man of the street, can actually use this technology, can deploy this technology, implement it, and apply it. That's where the whole paradigm shift happened in 2018, 2019.
Mhm.
There onwards, oh, we did well. No complaining. It's 6, 7 years from there, we're still standing. Not only standing, we've grown from a 3 member team to about a 45 member team. Uh, we have grown from, I was doing work with one university where we started talking about blockchain and explaining to kids. Today, we work with more than 500 colleges and universities across India. India's got a lot of them, so 500 is a fair bit, yes, but in India's got thousands of universities and colleges. We, of course,
Mhm.
be pouring into more. I work with top corporates. I work with governments. I'm working right now with the government of Goa, government of India, governments outside India also. I work with about 6 governments now outside India as well. I do a lot of work. In fact, very soon I'll be working with the Scottish government as well on multiple. We create sandboxes. We help them create frameworks, compliance, put things in a box and say, well, that's what this is. This is the technology, and that's what it can do. I'm also part of the G20, committee where I actually went and recommended what we should do for a global framework. So a few of my suggestions have been incorporated. Let's see, they hopefully by 2025, that's this year, they will be rolled out. So we did a lot of work, and then we aligned a lot of people with like-minded people who would think like us, work like us, and then we brought this whole thing together. So it's I would call this a movement rather than just an organization. It's a movement for our country and for several countries which are developing now. Recently, we sat down in the Nigerian. We were invited to the Nigerian government, went in the legislative assembly, talked about health and wellness as the first use case for blockchain. The way they're doing a work in digital identity in that. Oh, I can tell you on and on and on and on. But I think
Hmm.
that's the turning point. The turning point was when I just stumbled into mining and the journey from there, which I call my journey from speculation to revolution. Speculation
Yeah,
being Bitcoin, blockchain being the revolution.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much for that. So you've highlighted interoperability, transaction speed, awareness, and also security as key challenges in the adoption of blockchain.
Yes.
Which of these do you think is the toughest nut to crack in India specifically, or in the world?
Globally, I will talk about the
Mm,
global. I speak from a global platform here because I speak in many countries. But I think there's one common factor I found: awareness is the biggest problem. One,
mhm.
why? I still go to many places and they still ask me the same question: should I invest in Bitcoin? I tell guys, I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I mean, I can tell you separately I can tell you this idea, but I'm not talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a great use case on the
Yeah.
blockchain. It's like one car on a highway. There are many more cars, many more opportunities. There are buses, trucks, lorries, everything. You're asking me about the same one car all the time. Why do you
Mhm.
ask me a question? So the biggest problem is awareness because people associate that. There's some sort of they think they are exchangeable. Bitcoin is blockchain, blockchain is Bitcoin. Sorry, guys, it's not that.
Mhm.
That's the biggest problem. And as an organization, we address that. The second is a lot of corporates. See, when there's corporate adoption, there's always that's always an uptick then. Corporate adoption. Oh, I have to change everything now. My whole system do I need to change? So that's because of lack of awareness again. You don't really need to do that. That's the second. Third, is it going to be expensive? So it's a hypothetical question. It depends if you really need blockchain or you don't need blockchain, and you don't have to put everything on the blockchain anyways. So there are a lot of these questions which come up. The interoperability, that issue is being solved now, but in the initial stages, interoperability was a major, major issue. Speed, transaction speed, a lot of things. Security, privacy. A lot of people talk about private blockchains, and I keep telling everybody, private blockchain is a myth. Private blockchain is it's not blockchain. I mean, if it's private, it's not blockchain. That's my 2 cents on it all the time. I talk
Mhm.
about blockchain as a community, and that's where we address all these now. There are challenges, yes, Dennis. There are plenty of challenges. Any new technology brings about lots of challenges, but then challenges are opportunities in disguise, and you find solutions for them. Somebody's saying, "Oh, quantum computing will come and disrupt this whole thing." Sure, it will. When it will, we'll see. In the meantime, let's make quantum-proof blockchains. If quantum computing is going to come and do this, fine. Let's take a step in that direction. That's how innovation comes. Innovation is not going to come by utilizing and making an application on a blockchain. Innovation is going to come inside out. So I think that's where a lot of challenges lie. Most of the challenges are at the superficial level, but I think the greatest challenges are infrastructure, security, the environment which we have to create, and very important, the will of a government to take it further. The government, if it decides, then a lot of things escalate. If it decides not to give it much of a priority, it'll remain as one of on the periphery. But that's the change I have seen now. I've seen, for example, the government of India now has more than 100 projects on blockchain. A few years back, there were none.
Mhm.
Slowly, once this happens, then it becomes more, it moves towards mainstream. I won't call it mainstream still. I'll still say it's work in progress. But I think now the movement is there. So challenges are great. They give you solutions for the future. And that's where we are. So
Yeah.
while we do that, we built 63 patents in this space in blockchain, all keeping in mind the future, including quantum, including digital identity, including many, many more patents that will be useful for the future.
Yeah. Interesting. I've thought a lot about this with the quantum computer. Oh my God, will it, crack everything and destroy everything? But then maybe we'll have bigger worries than our savings in the bank or in Bitcoin. Um, Also, the awareness part, how are you tackling this when you're approaching universities or governments or these things, these places?
Okay, India is a very large country. We've got 28 states. It's like 28 different countries in one.
Yeah.
It's like one shoe doesn't fit all. Now, what I would go and teach in, say, a state in northern India, I would be teaching differently or making aware in a different way in southern India, for example. It's like having 28 different approaches. And in India, there are so many languages and there are so many people. Everybody doesn't speak English, yes, but we've still got one of the largest English speaking population in the world. English is a unifying language, yes, but we also have a lot of regional languages. So first of all, what we've done is we've broken out our, in tier two, tier three, we made it regional for more people to get into the system. That's what in India it's a very big thing. Globally, a lot of people understand English, but there are a lot of people which don't understand English as well. So if you have or have got more people into the ecosystem, you also need to bring it to the level of regions. You've got to have regional learning. So we did a lot of regional programs. That's one. The second thing which we did, and that is a very good thing which really worked very well, we didn't just work in cities. We worked in small towns. We are in tier one of the city. Bombay is a tier one city. But we worked with tier two, tier three, tier four, and even tier five in India. India's got several tiers. So
Hmm.
we worked down and we worked our way from down up. That helped. We brought in the integration and the interoperability between tier ones and that. We made tier ones mentor the other cities. Each tier mentoring the other cities. That was a very strong thing which worked for us. That is for the general public. Now, when we go to the universities have some idea what is blockchain, yes, because they are, of course, at the end of the day, they're not dumb students. They are intelligent enough. But what's the direction? What's in it for us? Jobs, opportunities, startups, what's in it for us? So there's a different approach for universities, giving them what's in it for me approach. That worked very well. Oh, can I get a good job? Yes, I can get a good job. Can I become a smart contract writer? Can I get a job in the States, remote or otherwise? Can I earn in dollars, spend in rupees? Oh, yeah, there are opportunities. We showed them the money.
Yeah.
Students are always looking at seeing the money. They're not looking at anything else right now. All the social good comes later on. But first, so made them follow the money. Then the statistics, then everything else. Fine. So we explained to them the value, the shortage, paucity, opportunity, and then created programs. So we created about 30 to 40 different programs, each for different verticals. So we have blockchain for the supply chain, blockchain for manufacturing, blockchain for energy and utilities, blockchain in the retail industry, blockchain hospitality, blockchain for agriculture, blockchain for finance, so on and so forth. So we broke it into sectors. As I said, there is no one solution for everything. What could be great in the supply chain may not have any impact on, say, the retail space, or maybe whatever, just hypothetically, although it's connected. But nonetheless, we made them understand, and that became very easy for them to understand. If it's specific, it's easier to understand. Okay, I'm choosing finance. What's in it for me? There you go. We got that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when we slipped in also the sustainability aspect in each of what we did, green finance we put inside. Oh, green finance. It piqued their interest. What is green finance? What do we do? Slipped it inside very subtly so that we have responsible students. We don't just want
Right.
students knowledge, we want them to have responsibility. We initiated a program called Tech Zero, using technology to move towards net zero, the 2070 net zero. We started using technology and subtly putting all these little things inside so that we have students who then become leaders of the future, speak the language not just of tech, but also of sustainability,
Yeah.
also about the environment. So that's where we done with the students. Because
Yeah.
they are the ones who have the torch now. They're going to be the torch bearers of the future. We've
Hmm.
done it's going to be the next lot of people. Where are they going to learn from? And nobody teaches these things as a subject in a classroom. Then we gave them a lot of hands-on work to do. So that was awareness became fantastic. Now they were working on something and saying, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. That's the impact. We showed them measurable impact by actually hands-on activity. That was there. Now the biggest challenge was where the government, not for anything else, but the government, its job is governance. This was a unique subject suddenly thrust upon them. The world talks about Bitcoin. The world talks about, you know, anti money laundering.
Excuse me. Let me just one follow question quickly to the ESG aspect of it all before we move on to governments. The let's say you have a oil company or a chemical producer,
Mhm.
and they have certain regulations and laws to follow. And but there's also, I know there's some companies tokenizing their assets, for example, methane.
Yes,
Um, so, but how would you frame that to a company uh, without confusing them with the technical side of blockchain, but showing them what the value of it is?
whether it is blockchain or any other technology. When we talk about tech zero, it's about technology we use towards net zero. You talk about tokenization, you talk about carbon credits, you talk about green credits. People, all companies talk about it. There's a lot of greenwashing that goes on. Just put it on a document and everything's fine. So we told them that if you're in the future, the business is going to be based on trust. The future business is all going to be based on trust. There's only one trust machine. That's blockchain. It's simple or as complicated as that. Put everything there, everything is fine. So we taught them how to put all the information and make sense of that information using data analytics, using big data, using artificial intelligence to make sensible data, to make actionable data available in the snap and authentic. That is the most important thing, trust. Therefore, I
Yeah,
said now your future impact reports will have an element of trust in them. And I think, and I believe that also, and I've always believed that the future business is going to be based on trust. There will be a trust index at some point of time, and trust index is not going to come with greenwashing. Shell got shocked. Right? Shell was literally shell shocked recently when it was discovered that they were doing a lot of greenwashing, and they came in for the wrong reasons in the news. Like that, many other there are so many of them. All large companies, I'm sure that everybody's their motive is profit. But if you can bring in the layer of trust and transparency within that layer, using the right technology, I think that's very good. Whether it's through tokenization, whether it's through showing them the path of creating a circular economy by the problem of sustainability is not somebody buying carbon credits, green credits. It's how to reduce those. You can always, okay, I'm polluting. I need to buy that carbon credits to balance the whole equation. That's not a solution. That's just a band-aid solution. The solution lies deeper. And that's where we actually went and explained to them. And it has to come from the top. It doesn't come from down upwards. It has to come from the CEO's level. That's where we did. We put the drone right at 50 meters and said, "Oh, now that's the view you have to take." That's where we do. And then it worked out better. In India also, there's a lot of work going on in this space. And we are seeing a big uptick in sustainable tech programs. That I think is how we position it. Tech for good, how you really benefit.
mhm,
Show them the
mhm.
way. Benefit, not just profit, benefiting the environment. And we align them with any one or two sustainable goals so that there is a sense of direction. This is what we wish to achieve. This is what, that's how we,
Yeah,
so that is it.
awesome. Great. So, did you want to continue on the government side of things, or?
Yeah, just 2 minutes I'll take on that simply because the governments
Mhm.
have basically, they're good at governance, they know their job there, but they don't know technologies on a day to day basis. And when suddenly new technology is thrust upon them with a lot of gray areas and a lot of opacity around it, Bitcoin, oh, illegal money transfers, etc., etc. Oh, when all that comes in the picture, the governments do take notice. Well, listen, how do we address all these things? We've never faced such things. That's where the training and awareness was very, very important. We don't have rules, we don't have regulations. It's pretty much the wild west in India right now. It's nobody knows where to plug and pinpoint the rules and regulations on Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies. So the awareness was trying to tell them, okay, how do you mitigate these risks? Interoperability risks, global frameworks, global standards, speed, also privacy concerns. anti-money laundering laws need to be addressed. So we need to address this entire framework within the Indian framework, for example. That's where the first was understanding what is Bitcoin or blockchain or cryptocurrencies, and they can be your friend. They don't need to be your enemy. They don't need to be something which needs to be shunned and said, no, 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 we want to have these. There, slowly over the last few years, we've seen that impact, that now more and more either government, state governments and central governments start adopting this technology and have sort of delinked it from crypto. And say, well, crypto is not part of it anymore. There are tokens, yes, but crypto is a different thing. They understand the benefits of the technology. So the governments, we took a different approach from a compliance perspective rather than just an impact perspective.
Yeah, right. Thanks for that. So we've already spoken a little bit about it, but the tokenization of assets, like carbon credits, for example, what's the biggest misconception you think people and companies have about this trend, and how is the India Blockchain Association working to clear this up?
Well, what happens is people don't realize in India, for example, things are very tangible. Oh, well, this is a bar of gold. I can hold it. That's mine. I own it. It's tangible. Digital gold, digital real estate, all question marks. Where do I go? If something happens, where do I go and claim? Today, if something gets robbed, I can go, well, this is a physical piece of gold, I have this lost, whatever. The biggest misconception and problem is they can't see it. Not only in India, many countries, I can't see it. If I can't see it, well, listen, guys, you can't even see the money in your bank for that matter. That's digitized. You can't see the money. You know you got it, but you can't see it, right? It's not in your pocket. But you see in your pocket, that's the only one you have. Who uses that now? In the digital world, who uses cash? Right? So how the paradigm shift from cash to digital money took place, that's how it's going to take place. It'll take some time. People will again realize, all right, this is okay. Secondly, they don't know whether the real world assets are backed by something. Is it backed by the government? Is it backed by the Reserve Bank? Is it backed by some asset? They don't know that because it's all on paper. So they build, everything is in place. The structures are in place, frameworks are in place. They don't know it. Again, mass awareness is very important. Now we have ETFs now. Digitally, we have fractionalized ETFs, everything. It's still not as popular as it should be. It's just started. It's just the journey just started. But then the history of money has taken hundreds of years to evolve from salt to the digital, what you see in the digital age now. So it's just taken its time. Salt, salary comes from the word salt, sal, which salt. That's what they used to pay you. That was what is given to you for your work.
Yeah.
We evolved from those ages to the place where we say, yeah, we can go online and click, click, click. I can transfer money to you. Click, click, click. I can transfer. I can withdraw from cash. Things like that. It has taken its time. It takes time to evolve. So awareness is the key. Second, I think we also need to know. We also need to understand why is it being digitized? Can it not be? This is the biggest problem. Why is it being digitized? Very simple answer is you digitize it and fractionalize it and have tokens because that becomes a smaller section. You can partake in that. Otherwise, there's a huge 5-star, beautiful hotel. I can't buy it. I can't invest. I can't buy any bit of it. But if it's fractionalized, I can do it. So once this awareness comes, and that has happened, it's happening now. As we speak today, I'm doing at least 8 or 9 large projects in India in this space. Real asset being fractionalized, gold being fractionalized. Traditionally, India has probably more gold than anywhere else in the world. Maybe not apart from the States, because Indians are big on saving, and saving in India. A lot of people feel gold is the best hedge against any inflation, and it's cross-border first of all. So India has a lot of gold reserves, private gold reserves. I'm not talking about the government gold reserves. I'm talking about private gold reserves. Each family will have it, and that's why the depression. Whenever there's a recession, it doesn't hit India as much as other countries because we are high on savings. And that's now the saving. Now we can show them the value of fractionalizing more gold so even more people can come into the ecosystem. That's another awareness the IBA is doing. A lot of awareness sessions on how we can actually, real world assets can now be in the future. Because a lot of projects are out of India, but a lot of projects in India have also started. Again, it all boils down to awareness, security, safety. Indians are absolutely on this. If you're convinced that it's secure, it's safe, you've got everything made. Those are the two major concerns out here. The
Yeah.
rest, of course, is all in theory, but nonetheless, we need to keep missing that. And that's, we keep on hammering that fact and keep on showing them real world examples of where it's happening, how it's happening. Then they'll walk the fence for some time. Suddenly, like, hey, it's not a bad idea, guys. Come, let's all jump in. A lot of people
Yeah,
jump in.
definitely. I think everybody has this phase to go through. I remember when I first saw it, Bitcoin and Ethereum, $2, and
Yeah,
just think, it cannot be digital.
yeah,
And not buying it, not taking the chance, of course, not knowing much about anything at the time about economics or gold even, or hard money. So that's, but do you think in India, since they have a lot of gold in the private sphere, they are more open to understanding like the scarcity of Bitcoin and going into it this way?
yes, the answer is yes. If you see, Indians are, I think, the second or third highest wallet holders in the world. We have more than 22 million wallets in our country. So that's a lot of wallets. From a
Hmm.
country that doesn't have right now the regulations and compliance in place for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency. So they understand. The Indians are very sharp in terms of the acumen. Mathematical acumen is extremely sharp in India. One of the subjects which is always drilled in our heads right from the time we're born, and we have that acumen. Blockchain completely runs on mathematics as one, but more important, they understand the economics, the scarcity, as you said
Hmm.
correctly.
Hmm. Hmm.
Scarcity, they understand, and that's why they keep the gold, because the gold prices, if you see over the last few years, have risen dramatically, and that's because of scarcity again. Also, as I told you, Indians love gold. Diamonds, I don't want. Platinum, don't care.
Hmm. Hmm.
Silver, maybe. Gold, oh yes. It's the aspirational saving instrument for an Indian. Now, Bitcoin is called the digital gold. In India, they call it the digital gold. And therefore, Bitcoin is, he's there. He's the John Wayne of currency. He's right there. Everybody knows him. Okay, he made westerns popular anywhere. In India, John Wayne is the only guy they know in the westerns. Gary Cooper maybe, but John Wayne, oh yeah. Oh, they know Yul Brynner also, because they compare him to one Indian star who has no hair. So, anyways, so there's a lot of the McKenna's Gold, by the way, is one of the more popular movies in India. McKenna's Gold, because the word gold was there. That's why they would see Gregory Peck and say, I like that. And that's the Gold Rush. That was the movie of the Gold Rush. And Gold Rush in India, it's big. And it's not falling in anything. I see myself. My wife tells me, I want a gold necklace. I don't want a solitaire. I want a gold necklace. Now they understand it, because they also know the prices are rising because of the economics, and we understand
Yeah.
economics well. And I think it's the same with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has come. People have seen, you've seen two cycles yourself. You said, look at that. Look at where we
Yeah.
are today. Look at where we are. When I was mining it, it's not even a dollar that time. Look at it now.
Mm. Mm.
Probably if I kept all of them,
Yes.
I would not be sitting and speaking with you. I'd be probably in the Bahamas somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. I, so you're also a mentor, strategist for corporate startups, and you also spoke at TEDx 4 times.
Yeah.
Um, how do you balance everything, being so busy and having so many commitments with such a packed schedule?
I think the secret sauce is nothing else but time management. And you see, all startups have similar problems. All young companies, especially in the space of blockchain, AI, Web3, they have similar problems. It could be a problem of technology, it could be product positioning, product fitment, it could be raising funds, it could be going to new markets. So, frankly speaking, all the 30, 40 years of experience which I've gleaned, it's the same thing. I'm putting all that to use. So, it's like almost the same problem. So I slot all the blah blah, all the startups into different sections. Okay, these guys have got tech issues, they've got this issues. So it's very easy to address it for me. I've been working in it for the last 15 years. In 15 years in the blockchain space, you'll learn a lot. You're probably a veteran, maybe about for 40, 50 years experience, because it's been a new technology. So it's very easy when
Hmm.
startups don't have that sort of a bandwidth or knowledge. It's very easy to sort of give them that information. That's
Hmm.
more than that. We are also present in several markets, so we know how to connect the ecosystem very well. We are an ecosystem enabler as an organization and as a personal individual. So I'm an ecosystem enabler. That's how things grow. I'll connect the right people with the right clients or the right people who need that product. It's easier for me because I know so many of them. So there are 70 or 80 companies. Okay, these guys can get it fitted here. I can get them here. And I also tell them, don't run after the money, run after the customer, get a validation. So I help them get the customers. Somebody who validates and say, yeah, I like that. Then your valuation is higher. Then I take them to the guys who fund them. Then these guys do their job. So it works when we create an ecosystem, a thriving, robust ecosystem that sort of fosters a lot of growth, and each of them benefit. And if I was not helping them out, I probably wouldn't be on board of 80, 85, 90, whatever they are now. I've helped each of them. One unicorn, I created one of them became a unicorn 3 years back. So I think time management is doing well, and of course, what's inside the head, that's pretty much working right. Right now, no
Yeah.
dementia, no nothing. I'm in my 60s now. I'm working well. I'm absolutely fine for and I feel I've got another 20 years more to give.
Yeah, for sure. You're looking good also, and no signs of anything. So, how do you see the current markets? What winds are blowing, and is it making it harder or easier for you at the moment?
Oh, I think things are easier, very much easier. About 4 years back, I was doing about maybe a dozen or 17, 18 projects. Today, along with our partners, along with the ecosystem, we are doing about 150 plus projects across the globe.
Yeah.
That's a huge jump from 20 to 150. I mean, that's just us. There are many other companies doing it, and there are so much is happening. The other thing is happened is that, well, after Trump came in, Bitcoin went right up through the roof. It put the torch back on the technology. First, it came during COVID. The first major cycle came during COVID. Suddenly, Bitcoin shone the torch on blockchain. This is the second time it has come now. And this is, of course, a cyclic thing, of course. I see that as a positive thing for the industry. I don't know much about Trump. I don't know what he wants to do. He wants to create a reserve, whatever he wants to do. Perfect. That's fine. But what's happened is the awareness all of a sudden, even if he's making a noise or he's wanting to do something, either of the two, there is more awareness now. More people approach us. More projects are coming, and more people are asking, what Bitcoin blockchain do for us? I had a conversation with a company about 2 years back, very conservative Indian corporate. When I say conservative, they believe in the old-fashioned ways of bookkeeping, etc., minimal digitization. All of a sudden, they said they want to be the supply chain should be fully on blockchain. Suddenly, from nowhere, that is something which I said, all right. Like this, we've had a lot of uptick in a lot of our clients from a business perspective. But more important is, I think the trends now are moving towards what can blockchain do in the future? Can it do? People talk about DeFi. People didn't know this word DeFi. And somebody said, no, DeFi, no banks will accept the system. And I say banks will augment DeFi with what they have. They'll bring in more of the unbanked population. They'll bring in more variety in the way we transact business. They'll only expand their base. Why do we shun them? So I've seen banks now do a lot of work slowly and steadily on blockchain, also trying to figure out how they can incorporate DeFi into their strategy. This was not there 2 years back or 3 years back. This is another thing which we see. We've also seen a lot of social impact projects being taken up, especially crowdfunding, supply chain. There is India has a midday meal program, very large midday meal program, which is done by an NGO called Akshay Patra. They have put the entire supply chain of their midday meals and they distribute thousands of them across the country on blockchain to bring in more transparency. The agriculture sector, farming, all that, putting a lot of things. Putting, like for example, we even put, for example, the notaries, all the notary documents on blockchain. So now when you issue a notary paper, right from that time, you can trace it as if it's been used for the right thing and not. All these projects are now, they used to be just pilot projects. Now they become mainstream projects. Trade finance, letters of credit, cross-border settlements are all getting onto blockchain now. A lot of banks now are entering this, And when banks enter, they bring with it a lot of mainstream industry, because banks are the first to move, and banks traditionally are the slowest to move. They start moving, the industry starts gathering momentum.
Yeah.
I think the headwinds are going in the right direction.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and banks have to get on the bandwagon or become obsolete also. So they have no choice really.
Yep.
So how and is there a competitive landscape for you? Are there any competitors with the Indian Blockchain Association, or is that more on the client side?
No, I don't think so, because as an organization, we have the maximum number of members anywhere in the world.
Mm,
Besides, more important from that is, I think, the fact that all of us are really actual blockchain guys, and not guys who are influencers who are seen at all Dubai and other events, thumbs up, etc. We don't do that. We
yeah,
work. I think we've created a niche, and I'm sure whatever competition, or if any, not really know of any as such, but if there is also, we always welcome it, because we get ideas from everywhere. And I think the idea of, as an organization, is to interchange ideas with different associations, different organizations. So we never look at it as competitors. We look at that many more people where we can learn from, and that many more people we can share our knowledge with. So I think of it that way. On a personal level, I don't think there's anybody anywhere which uses so many boards. At least my wife is telling me that I've never seen anybody. She keeps counting. Okay, you're on 86, 87 boards. All right, okay. I keep doing my work. For me, it's just a number. It's fine. I enjoy the numbers. I'm not saying no. But the problem is, I don't think there's anybody. So the competition is minimalistic, I would
yeah,
say, if at all. And I've always tried to stay ahead of the curve, and I think that's helped me. Now I'm learning quantum, while most people are still grappling with blockchain. I always say, if you want to learn blockchain, go and Google it. You'll forget all the information. If you have a thought that you want to discuss with me, that's what I will discuss. So I've changed the way I approach blockchain, or any other technology for that matter.
yeah. Awesome. So, what are some of your goals for the next 6 months, 36 months? That might be hard to say,
I'll tell you
but
something which, we want to make blockchain and Web3 technologies mainstream, and that's the first step which I'm doing. Is actually after this podcast.
yeah,
In I stay in a small state of India called Goa. I don't stay in Bombay anymore. I left that 5 years back.
okay,
Goa is like Hawaii. Other Hawaii is in the USA. The Goa is exactly that, with all palm trees, beaches, sun, sand, sea, everything. Beautiful. Okay, I live there now with the government of Goa. We are creating the world's largest Web3 district in partnership with the government of Goa. That Why are we doing it? Because we want to make India a powerhouse of Web3 over the next 5 to 10 years. We want that to happen, and we also now getting the digital nomad visa, hopefully active for India as well. That'll bring in a lot of international collaborations, etc. Today is a sign off. Now we are going to have these. By the way, these are going to be. It's called Web3 on the sea. And why it's on the sea? Because we are right next to the sea. So all these accelerators, co-working spaces, which will have a complete ecosystem: the sandbox, the compliance, the tech, the VC funds, seed funds, mentors, learning, everything in one district. That's going to be the single, and that's going to be on the sea and on the beach. So we are refurbishing some of the barges and making them into accelerators and co-working spaces, and we are putting all this around the beaches with sustainability at its core. So we're not making tall concrete buildings; we're making sustainable workplaces, buildings, and a complete ecosystem which is live, learn, work, and play in one place. That's something over the next, not just 6 months. I see that over the next 5, 6 years we will be doing, and that's being greenlit today. That's why I said that's the big thing we're signing off today itself. It got launched officially last year, 23 end actually, and it's actually being rolled out, the first phase of it now. That's really
wow,
doing
mm,
something magical. Nobody else done that so far. We're doing
yeah,
it.
yeah. That sounds very, very exciting. I'm looking forward to following the process and hearing.
Yes, and this entire district, and so like a mini city, will power only on blockchain technology. So we'll walk our talk and
Mm,
blockchain technology. So we're going to walk our talk and say, listen, whatever we say, you're putting it in practice, not just
yeah,
saying it on stage, not just saying it on a podcast, actually walking that talk. I think that's a really important thing. That differentiates between ordinary and extraordinary.
yeah. Awesome. You're really seeing the change, the
Yes.
impacts. That's great. So this last question might be almost obsolete by now, but if you had a magic wand and if you could solve one problem or issue for the IBA, the Indian Blockchain Association, what would it be?
I would say, let's clone Raj Kapoor. Let's clone my team. I would definitely ask for that. We need lots of crusaders. I can't do
Yeah.
everything. I've got a lot of people, yes, but we
Hmm.
need a lot more. And we're
Yeah.
doing it. I'm doing a lot of work in Africa. I would like one clone of mine in Africa. I would definitely like one clone in other subcontinent of India. I
Yeah.
definitely would. I am 60 plus. I've lived a good life, but I
Yeah.
want to pick up my boots at some time and say, listen, now and I'll do that only when I feel that I got some of my clones around, somewhere running around. Probably the magic wand I would use for that.
Okay, that's very interesting. Let's see if the blockchain can make that happen.
May
Uh,
not be the thing, but the spirit of a nation can probably make that happen.
yeah, for sure. Hey, thank you so much, Raj Kapoor. That was super insightful to get your insights. If you guys watching enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with anybody. Raj, thank you again so much for joining us. If you have any last words, please share them now, and please tell people where they can find you, social media, websites, and everything like that.
Well, the website is indiablockchainalliance.org. And in LinkedIn, I'm only on LinkedIn, and a little bit on Twitter. Probably, I think my time doesn't allow me. So on LinkedIn, you can find me. I'm on LinkedIn as IndieBlock, and so on Twitter also as IndieBlock. You'll find me on Twitter is Raj Kapoor 1964. You'll find me there. And more important, you just Google search Raj Kapoor blockchain. You'll get that. You'll get there. There's even a song written on me, so you'll probably hear that on Spotify as well. Somebody wrote a song on
Okay.
me. Yes, I had an American friend. She wrote a song on me. She says, "You're doing a lot of work." All right, she put a song. It's up there. So that's my last words are we gotta build not just our nations, we gotta build ourselves and skill keep ourselves really relevant till the end. So it's not
Mm,
that you're 60 years you gotta retire now. It's not that you're saying, I've done enough. We've never done enough. My
yeah.
last word
Yeah.
keep on and just die with your boots on. That's my 2 cents for everybody. Keep it up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I always close the podcast with saying stay curious and keep building. So, with that, thank you so much again, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Hasta la vista.
Hasta la vista.